विनय रजत जी को इनवाइट करना चाहता हूं। वन ऑफ द आर्किटेक्ट्स हमारे हैं, प्रोफेसर एंड चेयरमैन डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ पीजी स्टडीज रिसर्च इन सोशियोलॉजी, मैंगलोर यूनिवर्सिटी, कर्नाटका, प्रोफेसर विनय रजत।
Respected dignitaries on the dais, honorable guests, the Sulabh team, especially the organizer behind Professor Neil Ratan and Professor Bindeshwar Pathak ji. Very good afternoon and good evening to you all. At the outset, let me thank Professor Bindeshwar Pathak for honoring me on these days, and that also in the presence of my teacher, Dr. Pais. Professor Pathak, people have called you in different titles. They called you as Mahatma Gandhi of today, Sanitation Guru, Sanitation Santa Claus, World Leader of Sanitation, that I have titled for my book, then Soldier of Sanitation, and the Warrior of Sanitation, so many titles. And Nilesh sir came in here and said, is the person of the century. The past century we had one Gandhi, and this century we have another Gandhiji. And it is true, both these personalities were never in power. They never contested in elections. They never won any elections. They were not chief ministers, prime ministers. They were not MLAs or MPs, but they had the charism in them, and that charism has attracted all of us here. If at all of us are here, it's because of that charism. I bow my head to that, the charism of Bindeshwar Pathak. And I'm here in the capacity of a co-chairperson with the chairperson Richard Pais, and also as a delegate. I had prepared one presentation for which I may not have a chance to do that. Rather, I just catch up with some of the themes that were presented in the sessions. There were 16 papers presented, and all papers were scholarly. And each presenter was scholar in the separate field, presenting the themes as development of sociology of sanitation in Gujarat, the teaching of sanitation today, the challenges, along with the many other themes we discussed about the person and personality of Bindeshwar Pathak, how he has worked out the whole challenge of sanitation and having reached today. We have also talked a new idea of sanitation Sena that has to be built up, that is being built up. A theoretical touch also has come here, and new orientations have proposed. Orientation in the field of history, orientation in the history of social work. And also I am aware that Dr. Pais has proposed, or rather he has suggested somebody to write a book on economics of sanitation. So which means the field of sanitation is expanding in different areas. Now, my summing up will be in the field of sociology. Today and yesterday, we are celebrating the Foundation Day of Sulabh. The Foundation Day, in other words, existentially we call it birthday. So existentially birthday has got two figures, a physical birthday and a metaphysical birthday, which is a spiritual birthday. The physical birthday is a transient, short-lived. Maybe some people live longer. Whereas the metaphysical or spiritual birth is lasting. That is the birth given to humanity. And today the Sulabh is the second birth of Dr. Bindeshwar Pathak, the syllab that will be lasting forever, and we are celebrating the 52nd year of that. Let us pray that this will grow in a mighty tree to shelter different themes, different works, different things under its shade. It is a social construction. In sociology, we discuss social construction. For example, I say namaste, there is a meaning behind that. So every action has a meaning behind. And this meaning is constructed in the interaction with others. When I say namaste, you understand the meaning. That is in the interaction. And the third step is this meaning changes in the thought process that we have, our individuality and the mind of the society. And this is social construction. And the sanitation and toilet that we are discussing, deliberating, debating on is a social construction. Let's go back to human history. I don't think human beings used toilets at all. For defecation, it was open, like animals. Population was less. Later, human being constructed toilet, socially constructed toilet, and mainly because of privacy or security. Still later, it was for sophistication. I am speaking this because I am aware of there are several associations or organizations worked for toilets or sanitation, but as I understand, it is only Sulabh which has incorporated the so-called the cleanliness or hygienic part of it within sanitation. That is including within his concept that in the later stage, toilet included human beings to clean it, and that was exploitation. And this concept, while incorporating hygiene, incorporating the caste, eradication of the untouchability was included in this social construction. That was the great thing. Theoretical application of this concept, there are two factors here. One is what Karl Marx talks about, and we say Marxian historical materialism. We talk about the law of negation of negation, and that's how the social change continues. And that is how the toilets have continued under Sulabh. Sulabh did not destroy the toilets, rather reconstructed, rebuilt the toilets, transformed the toilets, took the original idea, took a new idea, and therefore transformation has taken place. Therefore, toilets have been built in the households, converted into the flush toilets, common toilets have been built, and the toilet complexes have been built. That is the historical materialism that has transformed the society, and the Sulabh has worked wonders in the field. We count in thousands and millions, but I don't repeat any figures here. The second part is change of, or rather build of toilets in our minds. We have Hegelian idealism, Hegelian thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. We have thesis, some part of it we negate, antithesis, and build up the synthesis with the original thesis, and that is how our mind is built up, and that is change of the mind, and therefore it is here we academicians, the sanitation has come to the classes. That is our job today, to teach the sanitation in the class. Well, last 2 years, I have said this somewhere, 60 to 70% of Indian population wasn't aware of the use of Android cells and the computers. We were just sticking on to the numbers and mobile calls, but not beyond that. But just a small virus, what we call corona. Almost 90% of the population is literate in the mobiles or internet or online classes, online programs. But in the field of sanitation, exploitation, debates after debates, discussions, but we have not succeeded in changing the mind of people, because changing attitude is not a simple thing. It takes time. Perhaps it might take a generation. It's a long time. I was feeling today, very many times we said in 22 universities, sociology of sanitation is being taught. Let's be aware, in India we have more than 1,000 universities, including private universities. And what is 20 is hardly 2%. Very negligible, and that is the responsibility of ours to shoulder. It's not very difficult to frame the syllabus, but including syllabus in the framework of teaching is difficult, because I have realized this being in the BOS bodies of different universities, to convince people kindly take this syllabus something new. And having introduced also is very difficult to convince people to teach about it. And we should have that responsibility in us. Professor Anish in our presentation said, what is our responsibility? Is it enough introducing syllabus? What are we doing in this? And that is our responsibility we should take up. We should not go in for reductionism. That is, sociology of sanitation is only for sanitation. Now we have to expand this to the service of humanity, as Professor Bindeshwar Pathak, who has started with the toilet and today he's expanded his service to different fields. We have his innovations here. He is serving for the destitute. He is working for the widows. And what else? He is expanding. Likewise, we have to look beyond this. The first session was introspection, retrospection. The final session was prospects, what we look further. Yeah, the future. Just suggestion I worked out, I put about 4 or 5 plans here. 2 of them are already articulated. The first one is we have to extend ourselves to environmental sanitation. The condition that we see in all over India, environmental sanitation is in a very pathetic condition, especially the solid waste management, household waste, market waste, concrete waste, medical waste, and of all the things, waste from the religious festivals. We have to convince people, create awareness about this. We have to be concerned as a sanitation team about the environmental sanitation. That is the first thing. The second thing is we had visited the Sulabh school this morning, a wonderful experience. We could not attend the first session here, but we were touring around, a very good experience. And I get the idea there, this Sulabh has got its branches all over the country in all the states. If possible, why can't we start one school in each state? I know it's very difficult, but that will be the hallmark to communicate the message of Sulabh in practical field. There are personnel. One school in one state, that will be the dissemination of the Sulabh idea and ideology. This is the second thing I would suggest. Third is, it is possible. In Delhi, we have 2 very important prominent universities, Delhi University and Jawaharlal Nehru universities. And these universities time and time conduct refresher courses for the scholars, university teachers, college teachers. Can we fix one day for this whole refresher course, professors to come here and spend one day in the Sulabh, have a good exposure of this and a very good one session about what Sulabh is thinking about, what sanitation is about. One day experience for all this in the refresher course. Not all these teachers, at least one or two will be motivated this, and that will help the expansion of this Sulabh mission. The other two already been articulated. One is in the Indian Sociological Society, the RC on Sociology of Sanitation. 3 or 4 years back, I asked Dr. Richard Pice about this. Let us start one RC in Indian Sociological Society when Professor R. Indira was the president. She was from Karnataka. We had this idea, but we did not succeed in doing that. And this idea has come up again. We have very good two strong people here, Makwana and Karad sir. With their efforts, certainly this has to be there. Not as a fancy, I was thinking, when we introduce any course or syllabus at the university level, one of the criteria that was discussed earlier was each course has to be discussed in deliberations in one of the RCs, in of the associations or conferences, that sufficient research has to be conducted in the RC. We have enough research, we have the material ready, but that will be one avenue to force. So once it gets into the RC, that will be at the nationwide, that will be a possibility of introducing sociology of sanitation, not in 2% universities, it might increase to 50% of the universities if it is introduced there. And we have to strive for this. And finally, what Madam has said about internship, that Professor already welcomed that idea. When we talked about the new courses and new project works, or the whole program itself is a project, internship, even UGC insists that you should conduct internship, that from different corners, if not at least one candidate comes here and studies this, that will be a research, that will be exposure, that will be some writings. And my final opinion, friends, we had a very good session yesterday here. The Ministry of Housing and Urban, Ministry of the Jal Shakti, and one more ministry, they were here. At the end, culture. End of the day, they said we'll plan one action plan, something they said. As I am aware, these action plans are good, and with a happy thing they are joining hands with Sulabh. But these action plans are strategy for budget rolling. What we require is people in action, and that has to be coming from us. From us, we should have the people in action, motivated after Professor Bindeshwar Pathak. Then only Sulabh will be rolling faster and faster, accumulating more as a snowballing, more and more accumulation with that. With that good wish, let me wind up what I have to say. Thanks for the opportunity. Thank you all.